So, bit awkward, but I was originally supposed to be lip-syncing Strange Things by Randy Newman here, but when I did an upload test, I got dinged for copyright, so I thought rather than just scrapping the whole intro, you could just enjoy my rad dance moves. Yeah, okay. Enjoy the video, everybody. It's finally happened. He's finally lost his mind. It's cool, don't worry. I lost my mind long ago. Oh, hello everybody. Now, I don't very often get to see my family. They live a few hours away and our schedules are always kind of clashing. So recently, I put aside some time to go see them. On 2 occasions, 2 weeks apart. What can go wrong, right? Well, apparently a lot. You see, on both of these occasions that I've gone to see my family, strange things have happened to me. Now, I want to tell you about these stories, so I've condensed them into two concise stories. So let's start by diving into the social experiment. Boy oh boy, where do I start? So this is probably by far the weirdest thing that has ever happened to me. It was a late, dark, foggy night in Peterborough. Myself, Sophie, my sister, and her fiance were driving back from the hospital after seeing my nonna. She's doing okay now, by the way. As we were driving down this fairly busy road, we saw something that was rather troubling. 4 kids ran in front of our car and over onto the pavement. 3 of the bigger kids were wearing skull masks, and they were just wailing on the small kid. They were grabbing his bike, they were going in on him hard, and my instant reaction was, holy shit, that kid's getting mugged. We need to do something. So we kept driving and I was just freaking out. I could not stand the idea of 3 big kids beating up a small little kid and then just leaving him without a bike. So I was saying, guys, we have to stop, we have to turn around, we have to do something. My sister was adamant that we called the police, but I was like, no, they're not gonna get here in time. We have to do something now. So we discussed it for about 30 seconds and decided, okay, well look, if the kid is still there, let's try to help him because he's gonna be bikeless and possibly very hurt. So we turned the car around, we drove back up, and weirdly, he was still being mugged. I mean, in the moment, all I thought was, that's weird that they're still going in on it. But to be honest, I was pumped with adrenaline. I wasn't really thinking rationally at all. So we drove up to them and pulled over. My sister was screaming, PJ, do not open the door, do not open the door. And like I said, pumped with adrenaline, wasn't thinking straight. I flung the door open, ready to defend this little kid. I go to step out, and the 3 masked kids, they rip the masks off, and they start doing this. Let me tell you, I was an angry Peach. My face was seething with rage. Sure, maybe right now I look like a cinnamon roll, wearing my pink t-shirt. But if you angry me, well, let me just tell you, don't angry me. I realize I still do not sound very threatening, but I'm not angry right now. I'm having a good time. Either way, these kids, they ran up to the car doing jazz hands. And they were shouting, wait, no, stop, it's just an experiment, it's just a social experiment. And you know, I've seen a lot of dumb videos that play out this way, but I've never been a part of one. So as my heart rate slowly decreased, the kids kept shouting, it's just a social experiment, we swear, we're not mugging him. We just wanted to see if anyone would stop. Long story short, I got bamboozled by kids. So afterwards they kept saying, thank you for stopping, we've been doing this for like 3 hours and nobody stopped. They said one person drove past and shouted them to keep going, which is worrying in itself. And this whole thing leaves me very torn. Because on one hand, fair enough, they were doing an experiment to see if people will look out for kids who are potentially getting mugged, and clearly the results have shown not a huge amount of people cared about kids getting mugged. But on the other hand, it was really stupid. Excuse me whilst I activate stern dad mode. Kids late at night when it's foggy, running around on a busy road, probably not the smartest thing to do. Not only that, but we were ready to call the police. I guess they got what they wanted. I think they got more than they bargained for. They got a KickThePj cameo in their social experiment. I don't know if that video exists on the internet, but if anyone could find it, be my guest. It was only afterwards when we got home did I actually start thinking rationally. And my sister was saying to me the reason she didn't want me to get out the car was these kids could have had knives. And thinking about it, yeah, they totally could have had knives. And all I had was a giant yellow puffer jacket. Again, I know it doesn't sound very intimidating, but you had to be there, man. Seriously, angry Peach, not to be messed with. Man, oh man, oh man. So yeah, by far one of the strangest things that have ever happened to me. So now let's move on to story number 2 that I have simply called The Bird. I can hear seagulls outside my window now mocking me. You don't know what I've been through, seagulls! You don't know! You weren't there! Again, angry Peach, not to be messed with. Also, I just want to say this story is not as fun and lighthearted as the social experiment story. And that wasn't even that lighthearted. So, just a warning. So a few days ago, I got back from seeing my family for a second time, hoping this time there would be no weird social experiment. We went to go visit my nonna and granddad, and my auntie was there, and we were all just sharing stories about The good old times. And my auntie told me a story that I'd never heard before. She told me when she was younger, she was driving along, and out of nowhere, a pheasant just jumped in front of the car, and she couldn't swerve in time and unfortunately hit the pheasant, and it messed up her car pretty badly. She said it cost her something like £800 to get fixed. It's just one of those freak accidents that can't be avoided that you'd never imagine happening to yourself, especially not the next day. So the next morning we set off back to Brighton. Sophie said she would drive the first leg and I would drive the second one. So we were on our way, blasting down the motorway, 70 miles per hour. I was very excited to go home and complete Mario Odyssey, which I actually have by now. 100% completed, got all the moon. And about an hour and a half into the journey, something disastrous happened. You know how sometimes things in real life kind of move in slow motion, when in reality it happens in 2 seconds? Well, as we were driving, we saw a black mass just hurtle towards our car. And we thought, oh my God, is it a bird? Is it a brick? Is it a person? Is it... Wait, what was that first one again? And then boom. Boom. This far away from my face, the windscreen just... Like I said, this happened in 2 seconds, so there actually wasn't any time to process what was that as it was coming towards us. It was 1 second it was in the air, and the second, smash. I like to think that in situations like this, I would be calm and collected and rationally figure out what to do. But instead, I completely broke down. I had what I could only describe as a panic attack. It's kind of embarrassing to say, but I was completely hysterical, and I'm never like that. The only previous times I've ever felt close to that was one time when a guy almost drove into the side of me, and I had to swerve at the very last millisecond over onto the other side of the road and around the car. That left me pretty rattled. And the other time, I was on a Ferris wheel and I was completely hysterical because I'm not very good with heights, and this was like a year ago. This wasn't even when I was like 5 years old. I was a fully grown man. The next 20 seconds of being on the road with a smashed windscreen felt like an hour, but Sophie driving kept calm and she was able to pull over onto the hard shoulder, and we were just like, shit. What do we do? This has never happened to us before. It took me quite a while to just calm down because honestly, I felt traumatized. It was horrible. This is not a fun story. And after an hour of standing around in the cold and making various phone calls to insurance companies and breakdown cover people. Oh yeah, by the way, standing outside the car. Yeah, when you're on the hard shoulder, you're not supposed to wait in your car in case any more accidents happen. So we walked up this really, really steep, muddy, wet hill and stood on this little verge making all these phone calls. Anyway, finally we were advised to just keep driving. We were like, what? The windscreen is bird. Do we, huh? So all we could do was just slowly drive to the next service station. So we did that and we safely got to the service station. By this point, I'd calmed down a fair bit, but I was still feeling kind of just numb from the whole thing. Again, very, very odd. I never usually react that way to things. So we called my insurance company back and we were like, hey, so do you think you can get to this service station and change the windscreen for us? To which they said, yes, of course, we can get to you by about Wednesday. And we were like, what? It's Monday. We were thinking maybe you could come change it today. Can't really just stay at this Starbucks for 2 days. So we were just like, this is ridiculous. Let's just slowly and safely drive back to Brighton and get the windscreen changed there as soon as possible. But before we set off, I ran into Starbucks to get a hot drink because I needed something to make me feel anything. Like I said, I was feeling very, very numb. So I was thinking in my head, green tea. I'm gonna order a green tea. I love green tea. That's gonna make me feel so much better. So I got to the kind lady and she asked me what I'd like and I blurted out, coffee? That's not what I was thinking. In fact, I hate coffee. Really, really hate coffee. I don't drink coffee ever. My brain was telling me green tea, but my mouth said coffee. And so I was thinking, well, PJ, just tell the kind lady that in fact you changed your mind and you wanted green tea. Then she asked for my name and I said PJ. Then she asked what kind of coffee. I said latte. And oh my God, I was completely broken. But I was just like, you know what? Doesn't matter. So I quickly went to the bathroom whilst they were making the drink. So as I got out of the bathroom, I saw a couple of cups on the counter. I figured I just missed when they called my name. So I slid past a family, I grabbed a cup, and I said, hey, is this for PJ? Was this for me? Nobody answered. Nobody said anything. And I was just like, okay, I'm done. I just want to get home. Screw it. This is for PJ. I was the last person to order. This is probably my drink. So I got back in the car and we very slowly drove back to Brighton. I didn't bother drinking the coffee because it was coffee and I hate coffee. And then eventually we got home. So as I was sitting there feeling utterly defeated, I was inspecting my cup and I slid the little cardboard sleeve off and I noticed they spelt PJ very oddly. They in fact did not write the letters PJ. They wrote Pedro. This is not what I told them. I told them PJ, and I just laughed. It'd been such a weird, stressful day, it was something that just made me laugh. But then I inspected the cup further, and I noticed in the box where they write what kind of drink it is, they wrote GT. And I assumed, well, this isn't a gin and tonic. It must be a green tea. But I ordered a coffee. Granted, I didn't want it, I still ordered a coffee, but my brain was thinking I wanted a green tea. Was this some kind of witchcraft? Sorcery maybe? A divine god smiling down on me? Or maybe, just maybe, I picked up the wrong cup. Think that's probably a strong contender. Throw that option into the hat, see what happens. Yeah, I realize I've probably just picked up someone else's drink, someone actually called Pedro, who ordered a green tea. And the funny thing is, he was probably thinking, I told them my name was Pedro, and they've written PJ, and I didn't order a coffee. Sorry, actual Pedro. But also thank you for the green tea. And so, since then I've got my windscreen replaced, it's all good and new and shiny, and I'm gonna be wary of other unidentified flying objects, but I'm pretty sure that was a bird. It was just so weird about how the night before, my auntie was telling us a story about how she once hit a bird, and then the next day, we hit a bird, although I think it was more the bird hit us. We didn't intentionally go for the bird. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Two very strange things to happen to me in such a short amount of time, both when just attempting to visit family. Maybe something is trying to tell me not to visit my family, but I think I'll take my chances. In a couple months, I'll no doubt drop a video, hey guys, I went to visit my family for Christmas, and I died. I'm a ghost now. Yeah, probably shouldn't joke about that. Well, that felt good to get out. I hope you enjoyed my traumatic and weird stories. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe down below leave me a comment of any weird events that have occurred in your life recently. And feel free to check out my Twitter and Instagram and the Patreon if you want to check out more of what I'm doing online. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!